Welcome to my kitchen, Gigi's Kitchen. We're going to cook a little baked ziti today. It's very easy to do. It just takes a bit of prep, but everything does. And so we're going to just jump right into it and start working on this pasta casserole everybody loves. You can make it, freeze it, make some today, freeze some tomorrow. It is good all year round. So let's cook. We're going to start with our baked ziti, and the first thing we're going to do is get our water boiling for our pasta. Got it going, and we're going to throw in at 1 pound of penne pasta. Now you can use whatever pasta you want, but we're going to use the penne. You can use regular ziti pasta. You can use anything you want. I would not suggest spaghetti. I would say anything tubular. So I'm going to put that in, give it a good stir. This water was boiling hot, as you saw a while ago, and has been well salted. So I'm going to put that lid right there for a few minutes. Now I'm going to add my olive oil to this pan, and we are going to start on our sauce because it is a basic marinara sauce with meat. Only this one I want to make it a little bit fine. Last time we cooked marinara, it was a chunky sauce, but this one I'd like for it to be a little bit finer. So I've added the mirepoix, which is our carrots, our onions, and our celery. Let those saute a minute. I'm going to add in there, I have about 3 garlics pressed and a tablespoon of Italian seasoning. And it's going to just heat through as well. And I did press the garlic. So we're going to stir this around a little bit and let it keep cooking. See how our pasta is doing. Oh yeah, I'm going to stir it every once in a while just to make sure it's not going to stick to the pan. And we want to cook this about 2 minutes less than recommended. We want this to be al dente, so they'll soak up the sauce as they bake. Because remember, this is a baked pasta casserole style dish. So that looks really good right there. I just chopped it so fine, it would not take much. I did do this in the food processor, so I could get it that fine. Now I'm already fried my hamburger meat, and you'll see when I put this in here, this is also very fine. I did fry my ground chuck and my sausage, and I did use pork sausage. My family doesn't really like Italian sausage, so I usually don't make it with Italian, but you can get you some Italian sausage. So that's 1 pound of ground chuck 80/20 and 1/2 pound of pork sausage. And then once I fried it, I did run that through the food processor after I finished with the mirepoix, so that I could get that really nice fine texture on the meat. And we're going to let that heat through. Then we're going to add our sauce. Now I've already made up marinara sauce in the past, so I'll link that video for you so you'll have it and you can go back and look at it. It's very simple to do, and I make a huge pot, freeze it, and then I pull it out. And I tried to put about 16 ounces to a Ziploc baggie. So this amount is 32 ounces, so that would be approximately 2 jars of marinara sauce if you put jar marinara sauce in, which is just fine. Find you one you like and utilize it, but it would be 2 for this. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to make our ziti. We're going to get our meat sauce good and hot, since our marinara has already been cooked. And all we have to do is heat it all through really well and boil and drain our noodles. Then we can build our ziti in the casserole dish. Now I'm going to make 2 for dinner tonight, and then I'm going to make one to put in the freezer. Of course, I have to always put something in the freezer. So then I will have it, because in a couple weeks I'm having some friends over, and that would be the perfect salad and pasta meal to serve with some friends. But tonight we're going to make a caprese salad to go with this. So once I put these in the oven, then I will show you how we make the caprese salad. It is basically sliced tomato with buffalo mozzarella, balsamic vinaigrette, few olives and onions, and that's it. Very basic. So I think that's good and stirred fried. It looks nice and warmed all the way through. So I think it's time to go ahead and add our sauce in. So I'm going to add in our 32 ounces of sauce. And we're going to stir all this together and let it come to a good hot simmer. And then we can add some ricotta. Now, some people, they don't like the ricotta because it's kind of grainy, but I think it's just fine. It's whatever you like. And I add it to the sauce. I think that's the more traditional way. And then we will add more in the pan when we build our pasta. Here we go. Keep stirring. And the only way to find out if you're al dente or not is to take a bite of it. But it doesn't look like it's quite there yet. So we're just getting this hot to heat through. Then once we build our pasta casserole, our baked ziti, we will put it in the oven 375 to finish cooking with our cheese in the middle, our cheese on top, until toasty brown and bubbly hot. And you know what I forgot to add? I always want to add a little splash of red wine. So let me get that. This is a Cabernet Sauvignon I get from my little wine club. It's pretty good. Now you can go all out on this baked ziti. You can layer it up with bechamel sauce. You can layer it up with croutons on the top. But this is just a basic weeknight recipe. And something I can put in the freezer and pull out and make it really easy. It's pretty disorganized. Our noodles are not lined up. They don't stand up, they don't line up side by side, dress right dress. They are just in the pot and then they go into the pan. But I think that looks pretty good. I'm just waiting for these noodles. Let's see how far along we are now. I think our box says 6 to 9 minutes for al dente. But look at your box, subtract about 2 minutes, and then you probably have it about right. Whoops. Almost ready. I'm going to turn off my sauce. And now I'm going to add some of the ricotta right into the sauce so I have a creamy ricotta sauce. One of the other things you can do, if you save your rinds back from your Parmesans, now would be the time to use it. Pull it out and throw it in there and give yourself a little Parmesan. Now, I am not a big basil fan, but if you like basil, now would be the time to throw in some fresh basil. So here we go. I have ricotta, and I'm going to put 2 gigantic scoops in here. Remember, I want to save some back for when I'm building it. Here we go. It's going to melt down. get nice and creamy. Oh yeah, that looks wonderful. There we go. That's nice and done. I think we're ready to move this to the building station and start to drain our pasta. Here we are, ready to build our baked ziti. This is the fun part. You can do it however you want to do it, but I'm going to show you how I do it. I like to keep my pasta sauce loose and lots of sauce with less noodles, not more noodles, just so that when I bake it up, then it absorbs all the pasta sauce, then I still have lots of sauce left over. I can always sauce it extra if I want. Now these two little ones are for us to eat tonight, and this is the one that's going into the freezer. So we'll do the two little ones first, because I will do them a little different than the one I'm going to do in the freezer. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay down a little bit of sauce in the bottom of the pan. Okay. And everybody does this a little bit differently. All right, and then I'm going to get my penne, and I'm going to put me a good scoop on there. And you see my noodles are nice and wet. There we go. Maybe just a little bit more. Okay, I think I need a different spoon. And so my pasta water from my penne pasta is going into my sauce, which is fine. Okay. All right. As you can see, I'm making a nice little mess. Throw that back in there. Okay. So now I get to layer up more sauce. A little more sauce. Okay. And I'm going to start adding my cheese at this point. This is a very hearty. So one of these is more than enough for one person. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little more ricotta. Maybe just a few little dabs across there. Okay. On both. And this is messy. It can be very messy. Okay. Now I have two other kinds of cheese. Of course we have our regular grated mozzarella. Okay. So I'm going to put a good layer of that. And just for extra creamy goodness, and a little bit of extra seasoning, I have a little bit of Monterey Jack. Just because of Monterey Jack has such great meltability. I want some stringy cheese in here. So I'm going to add that. And this is the pepper jack. So it's going to give it a little bit more of a bite with the pepper. And there we go. Now I'm going to put a little more sauce and a little more noodles, and then this will be ready for a 375-degree oven. Sauce, pasta, noodles, whatever you want to call them. I call it pasta. I interchange pasta and noodles all the time. I know there's probably a big difference, but you know, there we go. Okay. So now I'm going to take a few little more pastas, my penne, and I'm going to put that right on the top. There's some more right there. Spread my sauce out. There we go. Maybe a little more right there. Spread my sauce out some more. All right. I'm gonna put a dab of this. A little more ricotta. I am making a mess with this ricotta. It's everywhere. You should see when I make lasagna. It's really messy. And maybe we'll do that someday, make lasagna. Do you like lasagna? I like any kind of pasta. There we go. There we go. Now, we're going to come back. This time, I'm just going to come back. Oops, I forgot. I'm going to come back with some buffalo mozzarella. Just a little bit. You don't need too much because we're going to add more of the shredded mozzarella in a little while. There we go. And I'm going to let that go. And then these will go into the oven. And right before they're done, I will come back with a layer of the mozzarella on the very top. Let it melt down and get toasty. You can always add just a little bit more sauce if you want to go all the way around. That is a hearty pasta casserole pie right there. Yum. Baked ziti is one of our favorites. Goes in the oven. This will probably take maybe at the most 30 minutes because everything is already hot and it's already cooked through. I'm not trying to cook anything. Okay, those are ready to go in the oven. Now we're going to build our big one. Now I did coat both of these with olive oil, so they're well coated. Now this one's going into the freezer. So I'm not going to put my top on there, a lot of topping on the top. I'm going to fill my pan with my sauce, my layers. And then I'm just gonna let it cool because remember, it's already all cooked. I'm gonna let it cool. I'm gonna foil it all up and I'm gonna put it in the freezer. And then when it's time, I take it out. I'll add my last layer of cheese, mozzarella, buffalo mozzarella, a little ricotta, and then the whole thing goes in the oven. I do let it thaw thoroughly on the counter before I put it in the oven. Covered in foil, 375 until it's heated through and it is nice and bubbly, and then come back, add the mozzarella to it. All of this in here, stir it all together. There we go. Do my layer, do my cheese. There we go. Good and thick layer there. So I'm going to put one layer down on the bottom, layer up my cheese, and then it's ready for the freezer. So here's half. I think I need some more. There we go. That looks better. Oh yeah. Cover it good all over. Okay. Now I'm gonna come back. I'm adding my little dabs of ricotta throughout. More creamy goodness here. And what I don't use, I'll save and use it for something else. Maybe I'll stuff some shells with it or something. I don't know. Then we're going to come back. I've got my pepper jack. It's going to go over everything. And then I'm going to come back with a layer of mozzarella. And then we're going in for our second layer. Yep. Here we go. Now this is kind of where I stop, so I can freeze it, just like this. I am going to foil this, just like we did the cornbread dressing, and it's going to go into the freezer until I'm ready to pull it out. And I'm thinking probably next week I'll be pulling this out. But in the meantime, it goes to the freezer. I'm going to wrap it nice and tight so it'll stay in there. Then I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to let it thaw really, really well till it's totally thawed. Then it will go into the oven, 375, until it's hot and bubbly, and then I can add my top layer of cheese. I can put my buffalo mozzarella, my shredded mozzarella, let it all toast down, and then come back and even add a layer of Parmesan if you want. So 375 till it's totally heated through. So there we go. I am going to get these in the oven, and then I'll be right back with you. All right, I'm back. 30 minutes put in the oven, 15 minutes in. I took the foil off, added the mozzarella, and put them back in the oven for another 15 to 20 minutes until they were toasty on top. So just took them out. They're ready to sit and just rest until they cool a little bit and the cheese gels. So while that's happening, I'm gonna make us a little caprese salad. And basically, a caprese salad is sliced tomato, mozzarella, purple onion, Kalamata olives with some balsamic vinaigrette. And I keep this in the refrigerator. I have a video on how to make it. So there it is. So I'm just gonna slice this up. Now, there's only 2 of us for dinner tonight, but if I was feeding more than 2, I might put it on a big platter and add more toppings and make it more like an antipasta platter. But for tonight, this is plenty for us, and I think it'll be great just to sit in front of the TV and watch some movies. So, sliced all that. And you can cut these in pieces, in bite-sized pieces if you want. You don't have to leave them whole if you don't want to. So there we are. Now I'm gonna layer this in a little bit of salt. Okay, our kosher salt, sprinkle it on there really good. I did put a little bit of salt in the dressing, but not too much. So you really need to salt your tomatoes. So then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go ahead and add my purple onion, and I slice this really thin in halves. And I'm just going to put it on here like this. And then there's my olives. And here's my buffalo mozzarella that I'm just going to put around. Now, if you like to do it the traditional way, every piece of tomato needs to have a slice of mozzarella on the top, like so, in the traditional sense. But this is just a stay-at-home dinner, so it'll be good for me to just kind of throw this around like so. So then, got my dressing. I keep this in the refrigerator so we have it. Got my little whizzer, and I'm going to stick him in here and turn him on, and he is going to whisk this right up for me and emulse it really well. Now in this is 2/3 cup olive oil, 1/3 cup balsamic vinegar, a dash of Dijon style mustard, 1 garlic. I think actually I put a half a garlic clove in it, a little salt, and a little pepper. And we're just gonna douse this up really good. And there you go, salad caprese. one of our favorites. I'm going to cut into one of these. Oh my gosh, that looks so yummy. A big square piece there with all that good melty mozzarella. And there we have it. Baked ziti. Look at that nice stringy cheese. Oh my gosh, that is so good. Oh yeah, there we are. Okay. And then we're going to have a little bit of tomato caprese on the side. And there you have it. Dinner is served. So, thank you for joining me today for the baked ziti. Get to see you next week. Don't forget to stop by. You can do this. Bye.